Jay, and welcome to the Gator Gates podcast. We're back. We're so glad to be back with you guys. I know it's been some time. I know you guys have probably missed us. We missed you too. Some of you, not everybody. Not gonna lie. I'm just being honest. Before we get started, we'd like to acknowledge all the forces in the non-material, particularly Nebnabala Musa Moradinabig, the founder of the Earth Center, for his sacrifice, for all the great work he's done and all the great work he continues to do, and all the support in the non-material, and all the other forces in the non-material, particularly all the powers of nature and all the forces of nature that are standing behind this great work, and all the other ancestors that are standing behind this great work. And with that being said, we're back with you guys for another episode. Tomorrow, the doors of initiation are opening in a few of our locations. So we wanted to get with you guys and just make sure, we hit you with a few things. So just to keep the attention where it needs to. Interested. But before we get started, my name is Tutibsaa. I am one of your hosts, and I am here with
Kagzrimen, your host, and we are here with
Merikara, your guest, and we are here with
you.
Menka.
You technically are not a guest. You're definitely like a regular.
Yeah, every now and then.
It's different.
Pop in.
But so yeah, here, bro. But just be careful before you inhale all the water.
Yeah. Somebody put too much water in it, but
I took the water out, but you sucked so damn hard out of the hose. That the
Pause, please. Please.
Nonetheless, so tomorrow the doors of initiation are opening in a few of our locations. So we wanted to get with you guys, particularly to really just talk about, like what the initiation entails and what it's really about. And the best way, we could communicate it to you guys is that it's a process of self-development. And it's a process of self-development that is curated by the forces unseen. And without that sounding too spooky
Too late.
or scary,
Too late.
it means that your ancestors are really the ones that are involved in the process. And they're involved in the process in terms of ensuring that you're able to stand how they need you to stand and do what they need you to do. And it's a process of shedding a lot of skin, and it's a process of shedding a lot of things that no longer serve you, and ensuring that you are on this path to ensure that you complete the goal, and that goal ultimately comes from your ancestors. And you know, even we almost weren't gonna do the show tonight because it's like super hot where we are, and the air conditioner is not working too well. But we said to ourselves, like, you know,
Why not?
Why not?
Like, why can't we? Merikara is very angry with me for forcing her to do this. A few people were scared to come on camera. I'm not gonna name any names, but Zawaz. But so then, what do you guys want to share about the process, or what do you guys think about the process, and what do you think for those that are going to be, you know, attending the orientations or on the fence or thinking about the orientations tomorrow? What do you think are important things to share personally that you've gleamed in terms of gems or jewels?
Don't think too hard.
Oh, I thought you was gonna take it from there.
Nah, I saw you.
Oh, wow. You know, I think a huge thing is just taking that step, like just taking the step to be like, you know what, I may not know. Because for me, I didn't know what this was at all. Like, just thought it was cool. I just thought things made sense, and that was just a cool thing. I appreciated the diversity that I saw. And
What kind of diversity?
Look, it was everybody. I saw, first when I walked in the door, I saw a few Rastas. And then when I walked upstairs, I saw like someone that looked, maybe they were Hispanic, some sort of Hispanic. And I saw an Indian. Then I saw a white person. Then I saw a few like Afrocentric, you know, African American type people. And I was like, oh, wow, this is different. And that just piqued my interest personally. For somebody else, it might be like, what's going on?
Are you sure that's how you felt?
That is how I felt.
Really?
Yes, because...
Before you start badgering her, why did that pique your interest?
Because normally when you think of like consciousness, or you think of getting back to your...
I was about to speak into it. You mean conscious community? Conscious community-centric.
Conscious community, Afrocentric, you know, getting back to your roots, ancestry. You don't think, or you don't normally see like a diverse group of people. So that to me was interesting. It's like, well, why is it all these different people? And I was like, okay, well, maybe let me see what they're talking about, you know? And then when everything made sense, I was like, okay, I can overlook the fact that there's a white lady over there, Indian lady over there, you know, a Hispanic person over there. I was a little confused, but it was interesting, okay? Because normally you see people in dashikis, you'll see the big ankhs, you'll see the crowns, and then you're like, oh, okay.
Not the crowns.
I'm in the right place. But I had enough experiences in those spaces to know that, like, I didn't get that same feeling of authenticity and, like, just the practical aspect of it. So I think it's just taking that step and just continuing to let your curiosity take you to answers. You know, and not being afraid of the maybe the differences that you may see, but letting your curiosity kind of guide you and, you know, take you on this journey, having an open mind.
So open-mindedness is what you're basically telling the audience, you know, keep that.
Yeah, but
when you're
also just
stepping
like,
into
you know
something
how
like
kids
this.
are. Like, they ask questions and they're curious about things. They don't think they already know. You know, if I went in there thinking, oh, well, there's all these different type of people, they must not know what they're doing, and didn't, you know, try to see what they were really talking about, I would stop myself in my track, you know?
Mm.
So,
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point to make, because I think just to
This is
add on.
our resident diversity
What are you gonna
hater.
Oh boy. Well, honestly, I'm not gonna lie.
Exactly.
It's the moment of truth. When I first came in here, I was looking around because the thing is, like, see how you said you didn't know what this was? I came in with a mindset of, I know exactly what the fuck I'm getting into. I know what this is. So when I came in and I saw, like, other so quote-unquote races of people, I was like, what the fuck is really going on here? Like, what is this really?
right.
And it's to keep that open mind, or to keep going with that open mind concept, it really helped me to understand that at the end of the day, like, we're all humans. And I think we get so caught up in these identities of, oh, black, white, Hispanic, or whatever the system is like labeling you as, you forget that we all live on a planet. Like, this is Earth. So if human beings are all living on Earth, there has to be something that has to kind of like bind us together. And then me coming here and understanding that, like, okay, ancient culture or like African civilization isn't just necessarily tied to the continent itself, it's the Earth. Because end of the day, that's the roots of all of humanity. So that mindset, it really shifted things for me in understanding that, yo, I can't really put myself in this small box, because if I put myself in this small box, then I'm limiting not only myself, but I'm limiting the evolution of the entire planet. Because at the end of the day, we all live here. We're all earthlings. If you want to call us black, white, Spanish, whatever, it doesn't matter. End of the day, you're an earthling. So that's what I would say this initiation really taught me. It's like, what is culture? Like, what is civilization? And it's just about being human.
Yeah.
It's just about understanding how to be one and live on Earth. That's it.
And there you have it. It's been another. No, I'm joking.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
I know. Merikara,
Yeah, you want to go. I know.
Because it's hot. Well, we're not gonna front. It's hot. And I think you guys touched on like some of the most poignant takeaways, which is not only the diversity, but then also like the limitations and the limitations we place on ourselves. And I've been thinking a lot lately, and I've been thinking a lot lately, particularly about limitations. Sorry, my bad.
Don't want it to die out, you know.
You know, I figured out what it was, is that you moved this thing off of the right here.
I didn't touch it.
You did.
I did it. I
You
swear I did.
It's your fault.
I did it just how you gave it to me.
And the limitations
blame
we
game.
place, on ourselves. We haven't done this show for about like a month, and then it's like we picked up exactly where we left off. Like no rust to shake off. But the limitations we place on ourselves, and particularly how you technically don't know what tomorrow could hold for you in terms of walking in alignment with your destiny. And you can why are you laughing?
Nothing.
Because of the way he's doing it?
No. Walking in line with your destiny.
Oh, because he's blowing the smoke in your face?
Exactly.
Initially I was sitting in the middle, but then I thought we could all be adults, but
No.
I guess not. But
I am being an adult.
But this is another interesting thing that you learn in the initiation, which is like unavoidable, which is working with people. And it's so funny because you're gonna come across so many different people that you don't want to work with, people that you don't want to look at, people that you don't want to talk to, people that you don't want to be around, people that make your skin crawl.
Why you looked at me?
People,
Don't do that.
people,
Don't do that.
like you name it, like all of the things, like think about all the kind of personalities you avoid, and those are the kind of personalities you're gonna find. Because it's like there's just something about the like walking this path that is going to test you to your core, and is going to put like the kind of challenges that force you to evolve and elevate by overcoming the type of things that you despise doing.
Yep.
And the kind of people that you just like would drive on the sidewalk to see.
But the interesting thing about that is that you might hate, not, I wouldn't even say you might hate the person. You might hate things about the person. But what I find interesting when coming here was that I had to learn that I have to look at people and the things I don't like about people and realize that that might be something that I do.
Not might.
That
It
is something I do.
It's something you have.
Yeah, it's something I have.
Yeah.
There's something about this person I don't like, and I don't like it because it's a reflection of myself. I think that's the hardest part about this initiation, is that you have to constantly face yourself. It's like everything and everyone around you is like almost like a mirror. So those things that drive you nuts, that grinds your gears, it's like you have to really sit and take the time to go down and meditate, purify yourself, and like really question like your whole entire being. And that's really like it's kind of like, what would you call that, like soul shattering in a way, because you might have a certain perception of yourself and of the world, and then you come here and then you get involved with all these people, and then your perception of yourself has to change and has to shift. And then before you know it, you end up finding ways to kind of like chip away at yourself a little bit. Like really kind of like, imagine like you're like a block. It's just a block. Now that block needs to evolve. You need to become something. Now every adversity you face, everything that you think you don't like, or everything that you find irritating becomes like a chip that you chip away on that block. And then before you know it, you kind of shape and mold yourself into almost like this perfect statue. And that's like, it's very hard. It's hard. It's
Perfect
difficult.
statue, huh?
Perfect statue.
It's difficult, but
Like Squidward.
You
Handsome
know.
Squidward.
it's part of the work. It's just what we all have to deal with. It's necessary, but it's hard to face yourself in that way.
I mean, we were talking about this earlier before the show, because there's this anime that I really like called Ghost in the Shell, and there's a conversation that's occurring between this entity and this lady, and the entity wants to like fuse itself with the lady, and the lady says like, I want to guarantee you're not going to change my identity and I can continue to be myself. And the entity says to her, why would you want to do that? Because all things change in a dynamic environment, and your desire to remain the same is what limits you.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that's going to come to challenge you is the fact that what's going to come to challenge your limits are things that you would never do, are the people you would never be around, are the things that you would always tell yourself like, nah. Like, cause keep it real, like there's so many people you can, like, you can block people on social media, you can move to the other side of the planet, you can change your phone number, you could do so many different things that you want to do to get away from people that bother you or people that you don't like.
It's really, you're just trying to get away from yourself.
Yeah. And I think that's like a huge part of what's missing in this society in particular, and what's so special about either indigenous societies or societies that really just have culture is that community aspect, where you don't necessarily look at your neighbor and see much of a difference between you two. And you realize like, I need that person needs me. We work together to do these things together. And through that, you get to develop yourself as a person. But even like on an even smaller level, like even just having children has shown me that like, yo, when you're like around people, and especially when they're your own children, they mirror back to you whatever it is that's within you. And you have to figure out like, am I going to rise to this occasion and like do something different, or am I going to fold and then now see that reverberate and like continue in a negative way in my life? So just that lack of community, you can see how that individualism is really tearing us up, like as individuals, you know, not just our communities. Of course, our communities suck. They don't really do anything for us.
We don't really have communities.
We don't have communities. And if we do have communities, it's all for individual, like just gain on a material level, where it's like, oh, I'm going to use you to get where I want to get. And like, yeah, we're a community. But once you stop benefiting in a certain way from those people, you're like, oh, I got to go find a different one.
Or you throw people away.
Right. And, you know, that's what we do here. Everyone's disposable. If you don't like this, you can go find another one. If you don't want this thing, you can go buy another one. And, you know, it just takes away that need for people and that need for just a kind of growth that happens in a group of people, you know.
Yeah, because when you really think about the, I guess you say modern society, just to touch on what you're talking about, we all think we are evolving when we operate in that way. Like, I don't like something, then I'm just gonna throw it away or discard it. Or if this thing is challenging or this thing is too hard, I'm just gonna stop and I'm just gonna move away and just go try something else or do something else. But then you find that when you think like that, you think because you're going to the next new thing that you're doing better than you did before. But really, you never really went through the hardship you needed to go through to actually make the changes before you actually moved on. Because there's nothing wrong with necessarily moving on. There's nothing wrong with acquiring new things or putting yourselves in like different situations, but what are you gaining from it? Like, what did you learn from previously before? Because for anyone to really evolve and grow, you need to learn from like your current experiences, and in itself that becomes you learning from your past. So when we run away from that, we really just ultimately run away from our own growth, and then we fool ourselves into thinking that we're evolving or we're going further ahead in life. We do it all the time. We do it with money, we do it with relationships, we do it with friends, we do it with family. But end of the day, there's always one common denominator with all of those things, and it's always yourself. And initiation shows you that. It like puts you up against yourself. It's like, what are you? Who are you? And what are you doing? How are you rising to meet these challenges in your life? And if not, what do you need to change? Like, what do you need to destroy in yourself to rise and meet that challenge in your life?
Have you guys ever heard that that quote? I don't know where it comes from off the top of my head, so nobody attack me for not giving it to its proper, giving the proper credit to whoever it came from. But it's like, it's not that you want to die. It's that you want something in you to die. Because if you want to die, go throw yourself in the ocean and then see how much you fight to stay alive.
That's a good one.
And
sounds like a David Goggins quote.
no, David Goggins would be like, it'd be like, I'm gonna kill what's ever in me today, motherfucker. David Goggins would be like, the old you is calling, and it's time to die. That's a David Goggins quote. Like I'll be honest. Even to my own detriment, I don't have fear of people. But David Goggins puts fear in me. Because like he talks about, he's like, one day I didn't want to go to the gym, and so I found myself at the gym. Or like he was trying to run around a city or something like that. He couldn't run around the city, so then he found himself at a gym, and then he found himself like on like an elliptical bike or some sort of like machine at a gym. And then he said like within like the first like couple of minutes he was ready to stop, and then he was like, all right. And then that's how he knew he was like doing the thing that he needed to continue to do. So then he like did that for like hours.
Wow.
Like he just stayed on the machine for hours.
Until he got over it.
That's an extreme
I don't know
example.
if he got over it, but yeah.
Is it though?
I'm gonna tell you why it's extreme. Only because it's David Goggins.
I mean, David
it's an
Goggins is
extreme
extreme. Yeah.
example.
It's
This
extreme.
guy broke his legs. He broke the bones in his legs and continued to run because he didn't want to
All
stop.
right. Like I don't even want to talk
He-
about
he-
this guy.
he-
David Goggins is hardcore.
He's
David
crazy.
Goggins is hardcore.
Damn.
I
I was
mean,
like,
it's
that's a
another
good. That's a
level.
good idea. I was like, yeah. When
Nah,
you feel
Dave-
that thing, like, oh, I don't want to do it. Like, keep going.
Sure, yeah, of course. But
Like, just like do it then.
of course, but there's extremes. You know, you go too far left, it's bad. You go too far right, it's bad. You know.
Got to be a happy medium.
I mean, it's about finding balance.
Yeah.
Ultimately, and the thing is that like the only piece of advice I could give someone that's looking to start this path is everything that is considered your composition and who you are before you start walking a path like this is considered your foundation. And you can't get anywhere by neglecting your foundation. So that means that if you try and throw away everything that you are and everything that you've been through and everything that's considered you or composes you, whether it be your family, whether it be your friends, whether it be your experiences, whether it be the way you approach things, the way you talk, your personality, you name it. The minute you throw those things away, then you're not even standing on anything anymore. And you don't have legs. Like you cut yourself off at the knees. And I can't tell if that was a sneeze or a cough. I was like, Baraka, buddy, back in business. Me and Menka have a pact. It seems sometimes when I'm talking, she's always backing me up with barakas, but I think I owe her money or something. But you can't neglect yourself and you can't throw yourself away. So the number one thing I would say to anybody that's about to start this path, or if you're thinking about starting this path, is bring yourself to it. Because that's the only thing that's gonna allow you to actually evolve, is you. And don't come in and then try and be don't try and be something you're not. Like there's so many people, and it doesn't matter. I've seen people that are in this for years. I've seen people that are just coming in that tend to have a dishonesty where they come in and then they try and be something that they're not, in that they are looking around and then they're like, oh, I want to be like that. I want to be like this. And then they start doing like really bad impressions of people. Like they start trying to mirror what they see or mimic what they see instead of just being you and then adopting the principles that those people live according to. So the number one thing I would say is don't throw yourself away. Because if you throw yourself away, then you're like suspended in the air and you're like trapped in a purgatory for forever. And I've seen people, like I said, like I've seen vets that are suspended in thin air. I've seen people that come in, you know, like brand new, that kind of put themselves in that kind of position because they're trying to be something else that they see. Like no one should ever come in and try and be Merikara. No one should come in and try and be Kagzrimen. No one should come in and try and be me. I shouldn't be trying to be anybody else. Nobody else should be trying to be anybody else. You have to learn how to think for yourself. You have to learn how to understand principles and make them applicable in your life and make them, you know, something that you live and apply and it becomes practical, as opposed to you trying to be like, well, I saw Merikara getting up at 6 a.m. every day, so then the key to me evolving is getting up at 6 a.m. every day.
Right.
But then you may not understand that she may be getting up at 6 a.m. because that's the time she needs to get up in order to do this or do that or do that or do this, whatever it is. So it's not like copy and paste.
Right.
And you're not going to get anywhere by copy and pasting.
Well, that's kind of like how we learn, and the way we've been educated in like the society and in the system. It's like just copy and paste. Because if you even go to school, it's like just copy and paste. The way that you learn is just, this is it, this is what you do, just follow it this way and go about your business. It's like there's no room for you to like think for yourself, or to think about what you're learning and then like see how you can apply it to yourself and to who you are. And I think that's the difference when you come into something like this. Like you can easily mistake this for like school, but it's not that. It's far from that at all. Like it's not even close, because with this you're learning tools, you're given tools to kind of like better yourself, again going back to the example I gave, to kind of like build that statue, like build that sculpture of yourself. Chisel yourself. Away. But it doesn't mean that you just throw away the whole block. Right. You have, there's things you have to stand on. It's like, I grew up in my household. I grew up with certain kind of parents. There's certain things that I've learned, certain things that I was taught, and there's ways that I've come to learn being here, and I've come to learn that there's some things that from home that is solid, because it even matches up with what I have here. But if I'm just trying to copy somebody else, I'm not going to be looking at my life and looking at what I need to improve on, and looking at the things that are really like foundations for myself. And that's like a big trap, like Tutibsaa was saying, that a lot of people fall into.
Yeah, it definitely is a big trap. And I think, the trap that we tend to fall into as like initiates, you're learning something new, you're learning things that are profound, and then you start to kind of look at yourself kind of like a low self-esteem in a way, where you don't see your value anymore. You put yourself down. Yeah, you put yourself down, where you feel like you don't have any value and your experiences don't have any value, and then you just turn into a robot. Like you just feel like, oh, like maybe I should just do it exactly like I learned in class, but then you're missing it. You're like missing the actual initiation, to where it's like, no, you have to actually take those parts of yourself and like do something with it. Use what you have, use your experiences to now, how do you take the next step? Because if you're just doing the little cut and paste method, you're not fooling anybody but yourself, because everybody around you is going to be able to tell. People that are really working on themselves, they're going to be able to tell that you're just doing the cha-cha slide. Like, it's the same steps. Like, we've been there, done that. You know what I mean? And you just see how you can be so much more valuable when you take whatever it is that you come with and you even expose it. Expose yourself to the community, to yourself, to where you can see, oh, now this is how I can practically use the things that I'm getting. When you say expose yourself, not expose in any vulgar form, but expose the aspects. Someone's gonna show up and be like, hello. Not expose yourself like that now. I know some of y'all get a little,
Listen, if anybody shows up to the orientations tomorrow and pulls their pants down, we're gonna be like,
please.
Well, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, because
we would not be surprised, but please don't do it.
We've seen some things.
We're not gonna talk about it.
I haven't seen anything. Speak for yourself.
We're not gonna have any comments on that.
I'm just saying,
exposing yourself in a way where you the things that you may want to hide, right? Because I remember when I started, like I would come in and I'll be like, oh, like I'm this person, I'm like this, and I'm like that, and then I go home and I'm wilding. I go home and I'm a completely different person. Yeah. But it's a lot more beneficial for me as an initiate to come in and just be myself, so that now I can actually use the tools practically in my life, rather than try to be maybe a perfect initiate or a A student, or get through my classes and pass the test and have my Medu and all of that. How am I changing? Like, how is my life actually transforming?
I mean, I think
you still should learn your Medu, though.
Of course.
I mean, of course. Like, it's just that you don't want your focus to be solely on, okay, well, like I sat all day and I did my Medu, and then you're not actually working on your greatest masterpiece, which is you. And I mean, there's so many people that, like, you can make everybody else your focus, but your greatest masterpiece will always be you. Like, this isn't something particularly that I could say that I used to I thought about when I got to Mtam, but I remember being like in high school and we had to read I think I was in my junior year of high school. We had to read Ernest Hemingway, The Sun Also Rises. And I just remember having this thought, like I was like 17. And the thought that I had was, you can run all over the world, but you can never run away from yourself.
Never.
And I think that so much of the lives we live here in the West is centered around running away from ourselves, and how you think like no matter where you go, like you could maybe stop the sun from rising.
Or reinvent yourself, as they say.
Yeah, and everybody does. Everybody does this like, well, I'm this or I'm that, and they reinvent themselves. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that's great on the outside, but it's just a facade. And the only person, like Merikara said, that you're fooling is yourself. Because nobody else around you buys it. And nobody else around you is going to be feeding into your delusions unless it's beneficial for them to do so. Because there are some people that will feed into your delusions, but it's just because that they're delusional too. And they
Right.
want, they want to benefit from your delusions. So it's an important part to remember and to think about. And Kenny Basha, can you let us know what temples are opening up the doors tomorrow, please, so we can direct you guys in the proper direction everywhere.
Yo.
What did she do?
She's unplugged the lights.
Girl, go.
She's like, y'all don't need this, right? I feel like we need that, like, we'll be right back music, like, do 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 do.
No, I think it's New York, right?
Yeah.
And then Chicago.
New York, Chicago.
New York, Chicago. Ouagadougou.
Ouagadougou. Toronto.
I don't know about that one, but it's definitely New York and Chicago. I
Fake
know that's for
news.
sure. I'm gonna go on
Okay,
there.
Kenny Basha, you got us the official. No. London is okay.
Here we go. Ready?
It's terrible.
You ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right. I don't know. I was looking on.
Really? You really got us hyped. I was like, yeah,
It's
Merikara,
terrible.
yeah. Thank you for
Because
showing
I was
yourself.
looking on the Instagram trying to find it, and I thought it would be right there.
Yeah, just pick one of the posts.
It's not on there.
It's got to be on there.
Okay, Chicago, Ouagadougou, Coventry, Toronto, and New York.
There you go.
Yes.
So, say it one more time for people.
Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, Illinois, Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso, Coventry,
United
Toronto, United Kingdom,
Yeah.
Toronto, and Canada, right?
Yeah.
And New York,
New York.
upstate New York,
New
Salt
York, New
Point.
York. Yeah, New York, Salt Point, New York. Yeah, so I mean, for everybody that's, local to those areas, make sure you check it out if you're interested. And, you'll be able to kind of, give it a shot for a little bit before you want to commit to it so that you could see what it is and then you can understand what it is. Because it's like, I can't speak for anybody else, but like, no one really cares if you come or not, because everybody knows that they're here for themselves. They're not here for somebody else. Like at the end of the day, like the reason why we talk about Master Naba and his sacrifice is because during the invasions of the Nile Valley, there was a plan that transcended thousands of years into the future to protect the Kemetic civilization, to ensure that the knowledge was maintained. So the upper echelon of the civilization decided to take the knowledge and spread out and hide it. And Master Naba and his bloodline and other bloodlines, like, they have it. Like, they don't need to share it. And what makes Master Naba's sacrifice, the reason why we talk about Master Naba, the reason why we focus on his sacrifice and why we acknowledge his sacrifice in particular, is because, like, if you're behind a fortress, an impenetrable fortress, and you're not able to be, like, known, like, that you have it and you're behind this fortress, if you decide to one day open the gates to your fortress and then start allowing people to now benefit from that same fortress, that's the equivalent of what Master Naba did. That's the equivalent of what the Nabas and the Naba bloodline have maintained for thousands of years. So it's not a civilization that you can talk about that is dead and gone. And I mean, no matter what the archaeologists and the academia, no matter what these colonial institutions will tell you, and no matter how much they're trying to put the banana in the tailpipe,
And the TikTok scholars.
especially, like, I can't stand that guy. What's that guy's name? Billy Carson?
Oh, he's on another level.
Bro, in terms of misinformation,
Another level.
like, just the direction he's trying to point people is just like, come on, bro. But that guy's like, that guy's a Fed, right?
Obviously.
Yeah. No. Like, there's paperwork. Like, people have paperwork on him, like, that he's a Fed.
Yikes.
So, there's a lot of people out there that want to, spread misinformation and make you go in the wrong direction.
It was the aliens. It could not be human beings. It had to be aliens.
So, I mean, it's there for you. And it's not mystical. It's not something that, you have to come in and then you have to think, like, okay, like, do I have to, like, go find 5 snake heads and then go find the amulet? And then when I find the amulet, then you will give me the tablets of Thoth and the emerald tablets and, like, all this kind of nonsense that people are out there trying to sell you on. So, it's important. It's important to know that it's something that it's so simple that it's profound. And it's there for you if you want to take a look at it and you want to be a part of it.
Answer the call.
Why did you say that?
Answer the call of your ancestors.
You want to hit this, Manka?
Really?
Don't let her over there.
You gotta keep her away from the fire. Yeah. I mean, if you guys have questions, you guys can drop it in the chat, but quickly, because we're not gonna be here for long, because it's too damn hot.
Here for a good time, not a long time.
But just going into the chat, Ujai DeMarcus has said, "Bro, I'm dealing with this right now. You guys saying this lets me know what I have to do." I don't know what that means, but glad to know it's resonating with you, because I don't know if that means, like, you're gonna, like, go, like, kill yourself right now or something.
Oh my
or something
God.
Like, because he said you saying this.
He's gonna make a decision that he's
you
been
saying
contemplating.
This lets me know what I have to do. I don't know what you have to do, but I hope it's something productive and good for you. And then Nico is saying, no matter what point in the initiation you are in, this is such a great reminder. And I'm also going through this right now. Yes, Nico. But, yeah. All right, well, if there's no questions, then I don't know if you guys have anything you guys want to say to people before we close.
Oh, we have some events coming up, right? Like some retreats and things.
Oh, yes. Oh, thank you. Yes.
Let me get
good job.
Let me pull it up because I don't have it right off the top of my head, but we do have a lot of exciting things happening.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Thank you.
So
I've been so far removed. My head has been somewhere else. So
we have a 2-day virtual event. It's a special event that's from our Kebtah community and our membership group, right?
Yes,
and
ma'am.
that's on July 20th and 21st. So tap into that. You can go on our website, theearthcenter.org. And then we have some retreats coming up. And those dates are, one of them is in upstate New York in Salt Point at our New York temple, and that is going to be Labor Day weekend. And then our other one is in Costa Rica, right? This is going to be a very beautiful event as well. And that is going to be, I don't know the dates for that one, but you can go on our website and check that out.
what is it again?
DogonWisdom.com.
Dogonwisdom.com.
Yes.
Yeah, go to dogonwisdom.com. Thank you. Yeah, I totally blanked.
Yeah.
But
So that's gonna be great.
Dogon Wisdom. Go to dogonwisdom.com, and then everything will be there and listed. And so then Oliver said, no temples in Atlanta, but looking forward to joining the Temple of the Air. Yes. Wishing you a lot of strength and courage, Oliver. Mr. says, have you guys seen Terrence Howard on the Joe Rogan show? He brought up some things. Have you seen him?
Yeah, I saw like an hour of the interview. I wanted to finish watching it. I would say it was interesting because he touched on a few things.
I haven't seen it, so you can't rely on
I haven't
me.
seen it either.
No, I'm just gonna say this. I'm not gonna really go in detail, but he touched on a few things that we somewhat talk about in initiation. And it was interesting because he's really challenging the scientific world with his ideas. And I would just say that he's somewhat on the right track. But it's just still steering people in the wrong way because it's still very much in the academic field of things. But he's somewhat on the right track.
I know Zawaz has seen the interview, and let's see if Zawaz can help us out, if he's not too scared to come on camera. But yeah, again, we have all the locations. Can you say the locations that are doing the class registration?
Yes, so it is Chicago, Ouagadougou, New York, Coventry, and Toronto. Tomorrow, July 6th, all of those locations will be opening their doors and having a class registration.
Zawaz, someone was asking about the Joe Rogan interview with Terrence Howard, and I know you know this. Do you care to share anything? Somebody said, have you guys seen Terrence Howard on the Joe Rogan show? He brought up some things. And
Yeah. Say it in the mic, son.
Yeah, he's touching on some, some interesting concepts, like, the concept of zero, like he was talking about it, and how, like, that doesn't exist, and how that's, been woven into our financial structure, how we do everything. But it's very rudimentary, I don't know if that's all of what he knows, but he's on the right track with certain things, according to even what we're getting to initiation. But he does talk about inventions. He talks about dreams, like how a lot of the things that he's getting is, like he used to even see it from his childhood. So he definitely has some kind of predisposition. Probably would need some assistance of a master to be guided in the right way. But there's a lot of that through the initiation that you will get within its proper context. Personally, from what I've heard, I think he needs to be careful. The way that he's kind of coming out with all this information, like
he's really challenging the
he's really
scientific
challenging
world.
a lot, and they're probably going to take him out if he's not going to be intelligent about it. I think Joe Rogan really gave him an interesting advice, and he was like, "You can't just come out to the public shooting like this." He's like, "You got to present it a certain way. You got to." Take it kind of like step by step, which really makes sense. But, people are going to be people. People have their own way of doing things. The best I can say about it is that he has some of the concepts,
Stop that.
but
Yeah.
it's very rudimentary. But then it's hard to say too because you don't know how much he knows and you don't know how much he's actually choosing to reveal or not.
My take on the
So-
interview was just from certain things he said. Like he even mentioned how the concept of multiplication doesn't make sense. Like 1 times 1, like 1 times 2. He's like, how can you multiply 1 and then it be 1? If you're multiplying, how can you reach 1? You know, because the concept is multiplication. So the concept itself doesn't make sense. It's like the wording of it is like, it's confusing to the brain. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. So him saying that, just that alone is almost like dismantling the whole financial system. It's just dismantling school, academia, all of it, because it's based on these numbers. But the way we use numbers is just doesn't make sense. And
But he's struggling to explain it because he's trying to use a language that
He's using
does
their
not
language.
have a clear concept.
right,
So even from that sense, it's like he's trying to reach people by giving them some kind of an understanding, but the concept itself can't be related within the language because it holds a lot of limitation. So that's where I'm saying it's rudimentary. But if he had access to some of what the traditional teachings are bringing, then it would be favorable for him in the way in which he wants to relay that the context of it all, you know. So
Somebody asked, when does California or Mtam Online open for registration?
California,
We're working to bring a temple to California, so that
Bay Area.
the Bay Area that could be coming, you know, in the next year or two.
yeah, we don't have a date for that.
Yeah, we don't have a date for that. That's tentative. The air, I'm not sure when the Temple of the Air is opening up their doors of initiation, but again, I know we have New York. That's 167 Clinton Hollow Road, Salt Point, New York, zip code 12578. And then we have Coventry, that's in the UK for our UK peeps who are probably asleep right now. Then we have Toronto, that's the same time zone as us. I don't know if anybody's out there from Canada. Ouagadougou, any of our brothers and sisters that are in Africa. And then we also have London, right? So that's obviously London.
Chicago.
Chicago?
Yeah, yeah.
Chicago, I don't know the Chicago address off the top of my head, but it's like in Hyde Park for people that know Illinois or Chicago. So that's there for you as well.
And if you can't make the class registrations, come through to our virtual events, come
Yeah, of
through
course.
to our retreats that are coming up. It's a great way to, get involved. And even if you're not sure about initiation, you can definitely still access
There's so
some
many
of the
ways.
knowledge in other
So many
ways as
ways.
well, and become a member, and support
Yep.
the mission as well. And reach out to us or our locations. We like to tap in with the community,
Yep.
and help out where we can and do things like that.
Community service.
Community service, yeah.
Yeah, so there's so many ways you can get involved. Even just becoming an initiate and going through the initiation is not the only way. And just going back to the Terrence Howard thing, I haven't seen the interview, so I can't really speak on it. But if he is bringing up the concept of zero not existing, that's something we have within the initiation that we brought out. So I wouldn't be surprised if he got that from us. I don't know, but I know for sure that is something that we know the history of where the introduction of zero even comes from within our archives, within our temples. So that's something we know.
He did even mention the Dogons. He even mentioned he mentioned religion and how religion is not, real, and how we can't somehow take the history of humanity and all the ancient civilizations and all the cultures and then now present this new monotheistic kind of
So
belief.
he's been watching our stuff then.
It's hard to say. He also says he enters into the dream space, so who knows?
Yeah, entering into the dream space means you're getting it from your ancestors. So,
Right.
so if we're talking about the invisible, then We're just talking about, you know, ancestors giving it to you because your spirit has to go somewhere when it, you know, leaves the body, and what you consider dreams or messages that you're bringing back from the non-material or the invisible. So, with that being said, it's been another episode of the Gated Gates podcast. We'll be back with you guys soon. Keep your eyes peeled. Turn on your notifications. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll be back with you guys before you know it. Please, dogonwisdom.com, theearthcenter.org, all the places that are opening up the Mtam registration for tomorrow. Tap in, support, do everything that you can. And then also, you know, there's so many other ways you can get involved. Not just becoming an initiate is not the only way you can support and get involved. So, you know, tap in with us and touch base. We're looking forward to see you guys, and we'll be back with you guys soon. It's been another episode of the Gated Gates podcast. We appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we hope you guys continue to tune in, and we'll see you guys soon.
So
Idiot.
phasey.